Welcome to the midweek show, The Fantasy Lens, where this week we will be diving deep into anything and everything fantasy specific. This week is no different. I mumbled that up a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Basically, what we're going to do this week is we're going to talk about what are the best value contracts in the league. So if you're in a cap league, this is an essential exercise you should do to know which players perform best at which contracts and which contracts are to stay away from because they don't produce as much to give it as much value. I'm, as usual, accompanied by co-host Nick and producer Vince, who will give their takes on these contracts. Boys, how we feeling?
We're feeling good. Big shout out to Vince for actually producing this Excel sheet that we're looking at. So if any of the math is wrong, please make sure it's at Vince Producer.
Hence the name Producer Vince.
Yeah. So I'm interested in this because I wanted to do this for a long time, and obviously, from year to year, this is going to change as players' points change. But it'd be cool to see if we could keep track of this year over year and see how it changes.
And so, like, what I want to ask you guys at the top of your head, because looking at this list, I was like a bit surprised. So, the top of my head, best values of top of your head, excuse me. What are the best values? Which player you think has the best value per contract?
Well,
if I would have asked you, I asked you right now, like, what's the first name that comes to mind?
I would have said
Tage Thompson.
And I would say Kyle Connor.
So let's start right there. But before we do, a shout out to ANC Photo Booths. It's that time of the year where you're starting to prepare for your big parties in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall. There ain't no party without a photo booth, and there ain't no photo booth without ANC Photo Booths. We had our first referral back to us, had a great time. Again, best product, best service, best people, without a doubt. And if you tell them Partial Breakaway sent you, you get an even better price. and D Photo Booths on Instagram. Cynthia and Andrew will take good care of you. All right, boys. Okay, so you said Kyle Connor is listed at number 18 on this list with 31 goals, 44 assists, 75 points in 66 games. He is worth $95,238 per point.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
Tage Thompson is at 28. 34 goals, 36 assists, 70 points in 67 games. Every point for Tage Thompson is worth $102,041. I would have thought Tage Thompson would have been higher. Boldy is at 16. He's at 16, 75 points in 64 games played. He's worth $93,000, $93,333,000 per point.
Oh, what about Natchez? Natchez has a low salary and he's got all kinds of points.
This year.
That's
the key thing to remember, right?
Yeah, that's
Guys like Netcash, like Kempe, might look good this year on this list, but next year might not look as good.
Natchez is 11. He's got 81 points in 63 games. He's worth $80,247 per point. Just outside the top 10. All right. Okay, so shall we start with the number one?
Let's do like top five. I'm very curious to see who's top five here.
So number one, I think some people would have probably assumed he was up there. With a salary of $1.835 million from the Las Vegas Golden Knights, Pavel Dorofeyev. In 67 games played so far this year, 34 goals, 23 assists, 57 points. He is worth $32,193 per point. That's $16,000 worth less than the number two, which is a pretty big gap.
So I think it's important to note that this exercise is not to say trade Nathan MacKinnon for Dorofeyev. That's not the point of this, right? But the point of this is to say, let's say you have your top core already on your team, and you're looking for your best bang for buck
For
to
Buck,
round up
exactly.
your team.
Yeah,
This is where this list comes in handy.
yeah.
I
And
just want to add this
Dorofeev
is
won't
the
be there
this
next
is
year.
the final year of his
Yeah.
contract. Yeah, that's what.
So he won't be he won't be there next year. But he I mean, for a guy who's making 1.8 million, he's overproducing compared to his salary.
Yeah, but we're used to that, right? He's done this 2 year consecutive years now,
Hmm.
so you can expect that. And to Nick's point, right? These are the players that it also affects maybe what you think is worth trading for. So like if you wanted Dorofeev and you were only willing to offer A and B, maybe knowing this now, you might be willing to offer A, B, and C
Mm.
because of what he's worth.
And once again,
Number,
remember
yeah,
to
go
that
ahead.
listener. Remember when we did the team previews, and that listener said, "You guys forgot Dorofeev." Well, there it is.
Yeah, best bang for buck player, and
Mm.
we have an award for that too in our
Mm.
year-end award ceremony. So
And now we have an automated list that can tell us who that winner is. At number two, another player on an expiring contract. So another player who's going to get paid, but not someone we would have expected to be here. From the Pittsburgh Penguins. No, it's not Sidney Crosby. Is it Malkin? No, it's not Malkin. Anthony Manta. The resurgence of Anthony Manta, $2.5 million this year on his contract. In 67 games, he's got 52 points. 26 of those are goals. He's worth 40. His point, 1 point is worth $48,077. Anthony Manta, guys. And you know what? Before you mention it, because number three is his teammate, I'm gonna add him. Brian Rust is at number three, 33 years of age, by the way. His his salary, that doesn't seem right. His salary is
For
only
who?
2.5.
Who's this?
Hmm.
Rust?
Scratch the Brian Rust while we rectify that. But so Anthony Manta, Nick, tell us about it.
well, it's normally not somebody I would look at for fantasy, and it's definitely not somebody that I would have ever thought of. But at this point, if you're telling me that 52 points is valuable as the last person on my list, well, $2.5 million on a salary cap league for the last player on my team, I don't. I think Mata might have a role. Maybe a role more expanded next year if his salary stays similar. Is he on expiring?
Yeah, expiring contract for Anthony Manta.
Hmm.
He's gonna get paid.
So here we go. The first mistake, and I know why. I took the fan track list from our Llama
Retain.
League.
Yeah,
And the problem with
retention.
our Llama League is there are some retentions, so their salary shows retention. So Ryan Russ should not be on the list. His salary is 5.12.
But for the Llama League listeners, that was a great retention because he's number three on this list.
Correct. At number four, this one is a little bit more.
Who's actually number three?
Who's actually number three? This one here is actually someone most people would have guessed. Kirill Marchenko, only 25 years of age, $3.85 million. This is one of the best value contracts, obviously, in the league. Not just this year, but it's been for the last couple of years. He's in year two of a 3 year contract, I think, at 3.85.
It's not
He,
expiring yet.
I believe it expires after next season. If it expires this season, I'm in serious trouble. Yeah, he's got 1 year left at 3.85. So he
Wow.
signed 3 years, 11.5 million total, and he's got one full season remaining after this at this salary. He is worth
He's
Wow.
48. Every point for Kirill Marchenko is worth $67,544. 25 goals this year in 60 games, 57 points. Vince, I'll start with you. Kirill Marchenko, I
he
mean,
was all
he's going to
listen.
be
He
up there
was
again next year, right?
yeah, for sure. He was always the guy especially in a dynasty league where salary is important. In this or in any salary cap league that you play in, he's a good bank and he scores goals. He's gonna probably hit 30 goals again this year. But he has 25 now. So Marchenko, I mean, he's a player to go get. and now is the time to go get him next year because he's still at that low salary. Because after that, he ain't gonna be at 3.8 anymore. That's for sure.
And for GMs that have Marchenko that maybe might face cap issues and might not want to pay what he's going to be worth, this offseason is going to be the time where you can get the most for him because of the contract he's on. So it might be something you want to consider. Nick, you want to add something on O'Reilly on Marchenko?
No, I mean, I would have guessed probably that Tage Thompson and Marchenko were the two best contracts in the league, anyways. But yeah, I wasn't sure if he was expiring this year or next year, so this makes it even better. Kirill Marchenko is just an amazing player.
I kind of gave it away there. I let it slip. But at number 4, Ryan O'Reilly of the Nashville Predators. He has a contract of $4.5 million, has one more year left on that contract. 22 goals, 61 points in 65 games, just under a point per game. Ryan O'Reilly at 35 years of age with the Nashville Predators. He's worth $73,770 per point.
One more year at $4.5 million.
Yeah.
Yes, one
after
more year.
this year. Yeah,
Like-
I picked him up in Lama just because of that. I mean, we hadn't done this exercise yet, but he was making so little money for the production that he's doing. This would be a great fourth center for certain teams in the salary cap leagues that are looking for a cheap replacement player, like a bottom of the lineup guy. But 61 points is actually pretty good in 65 games. So, he's for sale in Lama, half price next year.
But does his age scare you? Like, do you think this is a one-off, or do you think he can reproduce these kind of numbers next year?
So Nashville last year was a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
He did not have a good year, and nobody had a good year on Nashville. This year, they've shown a lot more promise. They've gelled a lot better together. Stamkos is looking like Stamkos again. If this continues, it's only going to continue this kind of production, I think. And I'm not shy to the fact that he's 35 years old, 36 years old next year. That's a given. But he's still the number one center on that team. So as long as the deployment is there, the possibilities and opportunities are there as well.
And also something important with this list that I forgot to mention to you guys, and I just remembered now, is that anybody who's on entry level contract, I removed them completely from the list, just because
Yes,
fair.
entry level contract.
It wouldn't have been fair.
No, I saw anybody on entry level contracts, I removed it from the list, and they had to. On this list, it's a minimum of 40 games played, because after the numbers are going to vary too much.
I just want to add on Dorofeyev. So now we're doing it based off per point. Most fantasy leagues give more points for goals. So Dorofeyev's 34 goals at $1.835 million. That's even bigger of a value in fantasy. So, yeah.
Junior, I have a question for you. You have the list in front of you. I'm looking at the stats of the NHL right now, the player stats. Number 1, Kucherov, 118 points. McDavid, 116. McKinnon, 114. Draisaitl, 97. They all make between $9 million and $14 million, right? Where are they on that list? Are they like close to the top? Are they at the bottom? Like where are they represented on this list?
So out of the guys you mentioned, Kucherov is at 15. Actually, 14. 14. He's got 106 points in 61 games played. His salary is $9.5 million. $89,623 per point for Nikita Kucherov, ranked 14th.
That's good value
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
for a guy
And
who's making wow.
same amount of goals as Dorofeyev, 34. So he scores too, which is fantastic. The other one you mentioned was McDavid.
McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon. They're top 4 in the league in scoring right now.
Definitely not top 4 here. Connor McDavid is at 35 on this list. $109,649 per point. He's got 114 points in 68 games played. Look, again, in fantasy, if we were to do this for goals, he'd be a little higher up because he does have 37 goals. But still, a little shocking to see McDavid down there at 36. And then where we had McKinnon is at McDavid is at 35, and McKinnon is at 42. $114,545 per point. He's got 110 points in 65 games played. $12.6 million salary. That's a $5,000 per point difference between him and McDavid.
Oh wow.
So just points, McKinnon seemed to be running away with it as, we're thinking, do you draft him number one or McDavid? But in cap leagues, McDavid still has the edge on McKinnon.
Yeah, but it's only a $4,000 difference, so it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. And Draisaitl, he's been injured. Let's see how far Draisaitl is.
Yeah, out of all the superstars, I think Kucherov is probably the best bang for
Yeah,
buck.
yeah. 100%.
Draisaitl's at 75
Gee.
because he's making $14 million this year. And he's got 97 points in 65 games. It's $144,000 per point. I guess on this list that I pulled up that we have here, it goes up to 123 players. Would you care to guess who the 123rd player on this list is? And yes, it's a superstar.
It's a superstar.
Just think of the teams that are crumbling big time this year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna guess because I already
And
know
we-
the answer,
and
and
we-
I'm not good at acting.
Guys, Austin Matthews is on 123. Austin freaking Matthews, salary of $13.25 million, has 53 points in 60 games played. Every point for Austin Matthews is worth $250,000.
Like, but what does this say? So, what does this say to GMs who have Matthews right now? Is it?
Oh, this is an outlier year. Come on.
Yeah, but is it or isn't it? Because,
It's just a bad year.
but is Toronto going to be better next year?
Yeah, but I think Matthews could be better next year.
Could
Even
will
if his
he?
team is not good, he should still put up better numbers.
Because as a GM, you can't trade him now because you're getting the lows of the lows. Like you're getting lowest offers for him, right? Because of the year he had, or does his potential still hold enough value that you can trade him and get a good return?
I think he has a high enough pedigree that his value is still high. Nick,
It's still high.
do you agree? Where do you stand on Austin Matthews and his trade value right now in fantasy?
I hate his salary. I
Hmm.
hate his salary, and I hate it because next year there's going to be one player or two players that have bigger salary than him. So he has to, in my books, return me at least a top 5 fantasy point season for me to really justify his salary. And who's going to be higher than him? Kaprizov is going to be higher than him.
Kaprizov, Draisaitl
Draisaitl
already.
is going to be higher than him, and that's
I
it.
think, yeah, I think so because no one else has to resign next year, right? No big players have to resign next year.
So McKinnon is at 140 something points, $12.5 million. I mean, that's what I expect. I expect my highest salary guys to be the biggest point getters on my team. So I think that you should be a little bit worried if you are a Matthews owner, the way that Toronto's looking right now. And it's not to knock Matthews. I'm not knocking Matthews. It's just a very high salary for little return.
Well, look, the numbers prove it, right? The stats are there. And he's got 2 years left on that contract at $13.25 million after this season. So he's got 2 full seasons left at 13.25. I just want to round up our top 5, if you guys don't mind. Our first defenseman, and
By the way,
probably-
same thing for Mitch Marner. Like, let's call a spade a spade. I know it was the first time that Mitch Marner was on this brand new team in Vegas. Vegas is not doing very well this year, but he has 69 points and he's getting paid $12 million, right? Like, I can name a bunch of players that have 70 points that are getting paid a lot less than him. So
That's $173,913 per point for Mitch Marner.
it's not good.
It's
not
not
good.
good. He's ranked 100.
Yeah.
Our top 5 is rounded up with our first defenseman. No, not who you think. I can guarantee you that. Shane Gostisbehere. With an average salary of 3.2 at 32 years old in only 45 games played, because he's had an injury riddled season. He's got 43 points. He's practically a point per game player. $74,000, 419 $74,419 per point for Shane Gostisbehere.
So we should mention that technically Darren Radish should be on this list as the number one defenseman
Yes, because he's
because
not on an ELC,
he's
right?
not on an ELC. He is actually on a vet minimum or like $1 million salary.
The
And
NHL minimum, yeah.
so he should be number one there, and then Gostisbehere number two. But yes, I think Gostisbehere is a great fantasy asset if he actually played more games because he's only played 45 games, where everybody else on this list is at 60, 65. Like literally, I don't see anybody at 45 games other than him and Mark Stone. Tells you what you need to know.
So, just one more thing on Gostisbehere. He's got one full season left after this one at $3.2 million. So, he's still a value add next year.
LPHL, baby.
I'm glad you mentioned Mark Stone because.
Well, no, Junior, wait. Do our
No,
sponsor.
finish off with
Well,
Mark Stone
Mark
first.
Stone, Mark Stone. You can't talk to him about it because there's a retention on that contract.
Yes, good.
Mark Stone's
yes,
making
you're right.
9.5 million.
Ah,
I wrote it in the chat if you guys ever read the chat.
well, when talking, we don't just chat. You know what I mean?
So, a word from our sponsor. You probably know who it is by now. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. The playoff race is heated right now with games going neck and neck, toe to toe, some high scoring games, low scoring games. Get in on the action. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-78-97777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026. NHL. All rights reserved. Back to the list, boys. All right, so there's a few players I want to point out, which is, for starters, Patrick Kane. At 37 years old, at a contract of only $3 million with the Detroit Red Wings, has 40 points in 53 games. That's an average of $75,000 per point. I like Patrick Kane. I've always loved Patrick Kane. At 37 years old, I didn't think he would be this productive, and on that salary, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's been really good with Detroit, and the only downfall with Patrick Kane is that he doesn't score too many goals. So like we preach it a lot on this program is that in fantasy usually goals always mean a little more than assists. So, but for him to be up there at a salary of 3 million, there's no reason Patrick Kane shouldn't have been in your bottom six forwards if you're dressing a full lineup in a salary cap league.
And he is on an expiring contract, but unlike the others, because of his age, he's likely to sign a similar contract and nothing really overbearing. Nick, would you take a chance on Patrick Kane if you were to sign yet another year at $3 million with the Detroit Red Wings?
I mean, as your 13th forward or like your extra guy that you're putting in and out of your lineup, I would take a risk on him. But I just want to show you guys this one stat. So from 2020-2021 season, he's been losing 30 seconds approximately of ice time per season. So now he's doing 17 minutes and a half with Detroit, only 55 games played. Last year he played 72 games. He was at 17, almost 18. The year before that, he was at 18 and a half. So it's like it's just losing 30 seconds of ice time per game per
Hmm.
year. Like if he drops to 16 minutes of ice time next year, now we're really not talking about somebody that could really hit 60 points anymore. So there's some caution there. Right now he's on a 4 game point streak. He's on a 3 game point streak, 4 points in total. But next year he's going to start the year off 37, and mid-year he's going to turn 38. You know, it's getting to the long in the tooth, and he's never really been a healthy player all the time either. So yeah,
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I'm gonna mention one more before I let you guys mention a few players because I think he's having a remarkable season and it's not quite being spoken of enough. Coming in at number 31 is Mark Scheifele. He's 33 years old. He has $8.5 million, 82 points in 66 games. Every point of Mark Scheifele is worth $103,659. Guys, Mark Scheifele is having quiet. He's having a pretty remarkable season, and at $8.5 million, might sound like a lot, but that's crazy good.
He's always been underrated because he plays with Winnipeg, not spoken enough about, but he's always putting up the big points with Winnipeg, with his line mates of Connor and Velarde, who's unfortunately been on the injury list and off the injury list. The one problem I think this year is that Winnipeg was a one line team, which made it a little bit more difficult for them, and hence why they're not in the playoff hunt. But he's always been a good point getter for the amount of money he makes. I've always liked Mike Shafley.
And this is only hit the second year of his 7-year contract at 8.5.
yeah. I want to talk about a little bit about somebody that I traded away, which obviously I traded him
Of
away because
course.
he's on this list, right? The number 20 on this list is Brad Marchand. Yes, he's 37 years old, ladies and gentlemen, but 54 points in 52 games. He comes in at 97,000 per point. That's pretty freaking good.
And he still has that contract for the next couple of years, huh?
Yep.
So the interesting part, I'm just doing some calculations here.
In your head or
No, yeah, in my head.
Mental math, oh boy.
Yeah, mental
oh,
math.
man,
That's
this
so
is
next
this.
year when Kirill Kaprizov gets to 17 million, if he gets 150 points, every point will still cost you $113,000
Which is
per
good
point.
for 39th on this list. He would
And
be
that's
39th.
if he gets 150 points. It's crazy how the contracts. Uh,
Are you
the
sure that's
new,
right?
yeah,
Because right now he's 40th.
yes, but he's only at 9 million, Nick.
Yeah. So how does he go from 40th
Because
to
he's going to get 150
39th?
points. He's projecting 150.
Oh,
I'm
you're
projecting
projecting
a
150.
yeah. I said if he
150.
gets 150,
What?
he has to get
What are you talking
150
about?
to be. I'm just saying he has to get
Oh, to reach
150
his level
to reach
now,
Yeah.
113. Yeah, it's
he
crazy.
needs to hit 150 points. Yeah, okay, but I think everybody knows that his contract is ridiculous,
Yeah,
redonkulous,
but
and I feel bad for listener Pete because listener Pete has no choice now. You got to hold him, right? You can't sell Kaprizov.
Why not though? Knowing what you know now, what if trading a Kaprizov can get you let's see here. Tage Thompson and Jason Robertson
yeah, that's not
plus or a Matt Boldy and I don't know, Martin Natchez. Like these okay, Martin Natchez, I think his contract goes up, so maybe
Yeah,
that's not a good
that's
example.
not a good
But
example.
Boldy and whatever. Marchenko.
Zibanejad.
Zibanejad. Like I think what this exercise does is it makes you realize that it's not just necessarily about the point production all the time in cap leagues, in dynasty leagues. So
Okay,
yeah,
but don't forget, you can't have if you take the top like I don't know 10 guys on this list and put them on a fantasy team. you're not necessarily going to have success,
No, no, that and that's what I was gonna say,
right?
Nick. It's
Right.
not it's not as easy as just copy pasting the first 24
Th-
guys or the
That's
best
why we.
wingers
That's right.
of this
That's why
team.
when I started this exercise, when we started this episode, we mentioned right off the bat, this is great to round up your team. Find the
Yeah,
best bang for buck to round up your team. Not necessarily. You still need your superstars. You still need your McKinnon to give you 140 points, even if he's 40th on this list or whatever he is.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
You still need your players, your big players that give you 4 fantasy points per game to be on your team. You can't have full of 2.5 fantasy point per game players and expect that you're gonna be at the top of the standings.
Okay, but what if you get two guys that cost you 75% of, let's say, what Kaprasov will cost you, but puts up just as many points together?
Yeah,
yeah, but
that's
you're wasting
different.
another spot now.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, but
who's the other
you're
spot?
you're improving on someone. Yeah, yeah,
Who's
I
your other
see what you
spot?
mean.
Right? Because
It's not as black and white as
it's
I'm
not
trying
as
to
black
make it
and white as
seem.
that. So, like for example, you still have to have two spots on your team. So Kaprizov and I don't know, an ELC contract, let's say, right? Let's say Frundell next year, or let's say whatever. That's a total of 16 million together. Well, Kaprizov and whoever, Tage Thompson and whoever else could make the same amount of points. Well, now that's probably going to be another 16 million, right? So you have to really look at it that way.
Yeah, yeah, and like, see, like Kaprasov is already at 79 points in 68 games. If you were to replace him, let's say, with someone who's worth more per point in Jordan Smoltz and Eberly, you're getting like total on two spots barely 30 points more, which is not really worth it if you with those guys, right? But yeah, I
exactly.
Yeah.
see I
It's
see what you're saying.
I think a list like this is like Nick says. It's like to round up your, especially in a league like Llama where you're dressing 4 centers, 8 wingers, 6 defensemen. This is a list where you can go look for your number 9, 10, 11 forward and stuff like that, and try to get the best bang for your buck in there. So it was an interesting activity. When I did, I was surprised that that Nikita Kucherov was the first one at 14 that was a superstar, But it's also like we said, it's a give and take, right? It's not just black and white.
Yeah.
And what I see in this too is, I mean, I know you guys are looking at it as you want to see who's worth your money, right? But you can also use this to see who's having a bad year, who looks really bad on this list that most likely won't look this bad next year, a la Austin Matthews.
Hmm.
And one guy that comes to mind for me with an excellent contract at $7.875 million is Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt is 82nd on the list with 52 points in 67 games. His point, 1 point for him is worth $151,442. But with 5 years left at this salary, a player like Jesper Bratt would make sense to maybe go look for in a trade and see if you can buy somewhat low on a Jesper Bratt. Unless you guys think he's falling off.
No, I think the Devils just had an off year this year. I think with the Jack Hughes injury and with their goaltending woes, I don't see the Devils being a bad team. I think they're going to bounce back, and if they do, it's because Bratt and Hughes carry the load next year. So he would be a good contract to go see. But listen, you in every league, just like in the NHL, in every fantasy league, you have GMs that get desperate or GMs that just are impatient and are ready to offload these guys. So if the opportunity is there, uh, it'll be interesting.
Final thoughts?
I'm looking at guys like Alex Tuck.
He gonna get
He's
paid.
gonna get
Who
paid.
got paid? Morgan
Nick Ash
Geeky.
is gonna get paid.
Paid.
Geeky
Tavares
is gonna
looks
get
really good.
yeah,
Tavares looks really good.
but Morgan Geeky is gonna get paid too at 5. He's at 5 million now. Camp is already going to 10.
Drake
Robertson,
Drake
Jason
Batterson has
Roberts.
1 year left at 4.9.
Yeah. So it's like Nick Suzuki looks good.
Guys,
Like
even Kyle Connor, his salary is going up, eh?
Nick Suzuki looks really good.
Cal Connor, did he sign an extension?
By the way,
he signed.
guys, Morgan Geeky has like 4 more years at this 5 more years at this
No.
contract.
Isn't he in,
Morg-
are you sure?
Morgan,
Yeah,
I'm looking
he
at him
just
on
signed.
Wikipedia.
He
just
just
signed
signed.
Oh, yeah?
5.5 years for
Oh
6
man, I
years.
didn't. Wow, that's
He
a
just-
good contract for Boston.
But guys, he
Morgan
fell off
Geeky.
since the Olympic break. He hasn't
Yeah.
quite been himself. Now he had a 3-point game this week, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
but still,
Kyle Connor
he's
signed for
19th on this
12
list.
12 million. Cal
12
Connor
million.
next year.
Kyle Connor starts next year, 8-year deal.
Yeah,
I
Suzuki
can't-
looks really good.
I think Suzuki looks really good. Even Jason Robertson, man, what's he gonna make? That's gonna change too. He's sitting
Yeah.
pretty at 19 on this list, but
Clayton Keller too. 7.1 million.
Yeah, Keller has actually already signed
Yeah.
for a few more years, I believe. I'm just going to double check here. But Clayton Keller has 2 more years at 7
Keller,
million.
White Johnson too at 8.4 million. He's not a bad contract either.
and we didn't talk of him, but Hagel too is always a nice contract.
Yeah, Hagel is right in there, right? And I think Hagel has a few more years. Oh my God. Hagel has 5 more years
Wow.
Jesus.
at $6.5 million. Like, that's a steal.
Yep, that's a
5
big
more
contract.
years.
Anyways, we hope this exercise helps you guys maybe lay some groundwork for you before your off season starts, helps you plan your strategy and what you should and shouldn't do maybe in this upcoming off season. But at the end of the day, this is just the more information you get, the better you are as a GM, and you do what you can with what you have.
I
And-
want to mention something before we start the outro music here. We mentioned it when we were just talking to each other, but the fact of the matter is that defensemen are much more expensive than forwards, and they also play more minutes, so there's a reason for them to be more expensive. But like, a lot of defensemen are lower on this list. We spoke about Gunther and we spoke about Radish, but if you look, like, Noah Dobson is 121st on this list. Faber is 118th. They're having great years, but because their salaries are at $9 million or more, they're lower on this list. So it just goes to show, though, I think that, you have to kind of pay your defensemen. Whether it's in fantasy or anywhere else, you kind of have to pay them. And $9 million defenseman might be just as good as a $7 million forward or whatever. There's like a luxury tax, if you want to call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm curious to see what this list looks like next year, because it'll be like all the guys that signed will now fall in behind, like go at the bottom and at the back of the line,
Yeah.
Because now they make a bigger salary. Whereas the guys that stayed stable, like the Suzuki's at $7 or $8 million, will stay up there, and the guys that get paid will drop. It's interesting. It's really fascinating, I have to say. I'm curious to see what it looks like for value per goal instead of per point next time. That could be a good
Oh, we could do it
exercise.
per goal. We could do it per
goal,
point, we could
per
do
point,
it,
yeah. Exactly. Well, we could play around with the formulas, but since it's Chuck Norris week over here, guys, the dinosaurs looked at Chuck Norris the wrong way once. You know what happened to them?
Extinct.
All
that's
right,
the answer.
guys.
Like, no.
Oh, Jesus.
Have a good night,
Junior.
people.
Oh, Junior.
Poor Junior. Junior's too young for Chuck Norris. It's not his fault.
Yeah. Did you know? Have you ever looked up Chuck Norris jokes? There's actually like a book of them.
Chalk or Chuck?
My nose is blocked. Leave me alone, all right?
What's that thing from Friends there? I'm fined.
I'm fine.
World.
He's old enough for Friends, but not Chuck Norris. Look at that.
Yeah,
Have
exactly.
a good end of week, everybody.
Take care, guys.